Hi, preschool leaders. We're preparing for March 21st in our series called Because He Lives. We're preparing for Easter. And as we prepare for Easter, this week we're taking a look at Jesus being arrested in the garden. And he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. He went there to pray before he knew the things that were about to happen. He asked a couple of the disciples to come with him. And as a part of this, Jesus was arrested in that garden. And today may be a hard day. Just be aware, some of your kids may have experienced a family member who has been through incarceration or all of this. And so be a little bit tender as you talk about this with kids, knowing that we might have some kids who have experienced incarceration firsthand. And then also we can talk about how Jesus, though, did no wrong, and they arrested him unjustly. And because they arrested him unjustly, he could have fought back. He could have broken the chains. He could have done a lot of things because he had so much. He was God, but he didn't respond that way. He humbled himself in front of all of the guys, the soldiers and the authorities. He humbled himself because he knew that this is what God had prepared for him to do for his entire life. So we're beginning to see the end of Jesus's earthly life before he returns back after his death. There are some sad things that are a part of this, but at the same time, those sad things are all so that we can have a relationship with God. God did all of this, sad things included, so that we had the opportunity to have a right relationship with him. So in your small groups today, you get to do a few activities. If you have little ones, you're going to do ones and twos. You're going to do a different activity than the threes and fours, but you'll still have lots of fun. You all have a bucket that looks like this, full of all kinds of goodies. This is your Easter scavenger hunt. You will have someone help you hide every one of these objects and send kids around the room to find all of those objects. Remember, these games, your social game, is meant to be a transition for you, especially at preschool. They do come in and play with different toys around the room. But there's a time where we need to focus and teach our Bible story and to put away the toys. And so this game is a great way for you to make that transition with them before they have to sit and pay attention to the lesson. So enjoy that together as you are preparing for your lesson today. Then you have your lesson on your Roku or on your DVD, however you use that within your time together. And after all of that, if you have little ones, you have a page that looks like this and some mini muffin cups. And the kids are going to create flowers out of these little mini muffin cups. And so what you're going to do is give 2 or 3 to each kid and ask them to kind of push it out like this so you can see the color. And then you'll put a little dab of glue on their paper and help them draw a stem to make this their flower that is a part of the garden. And remind the kids what Jesus did when he went to the garden. He went there to pray. And he encouraged his disciples that were there with him to pray and to talk to God, because he knew he needed to be prepared for what was coming next, that he was going to be arrested and then later tried and killed. You also have some coloring pages if you would like to use that. Now, if you have 3 and 4-year-olds, you have some slices of paper, and you can give each kid 4 or 5 pieces of paper. You're going to use your stapler and make a paper chain out of your slices of paper that you have to kind of look like a chain that could be used to hold somebody if they were arrested. So you make a paper chain for each one of your kiddos, and then they can use that to pretend like they were Jesus. Now, if they were Jesus, they could have the power to break their chains. So if they want to break their chains, they're welcome to do that. And then you can act out the rest of the story as you remind kids that when Jesus went to the garden to pray, he was preparing for what God had sent him to do the entire time. And yes, it was hard and it was bad in many circumstances, but it was what needed to happen so that we and every single kid in your group could have a right relationship with God again. You also have some coloring pages. So have fun letting the kids kind of play around. And I know that's kind of a morbid activity to do with the kids, but I also think that there are times where we need to not shy away from the hard teachings of the Bible because it's a part of the story. And every part of the Bible that God brings people through, there are hard things. And there are hard things that all of us deal with. And so we don't need to shy away necessarily from sharing hard things with kids because they're going to experience hard things in their life. And they need to know that it was God's design and that that's not outside of God's design necessarily. But he does desire for us to love him and to honor him and to worship him with our whole lives. Thank you so much for leading. I love you guys. We'll see you soon.